Welcome to the Discount Property Investor Podcast, where we show you how to buy real estate at a discount so you can create wealth over time and income today. Our mission is to share what we have learned from the experience of others and help you make more money investing like a pro. We want to teach you how to create wealth by investing in real estate, the Discount Property Investor way. Thanks for tuning in.
Hey guys, welcome back. This is the Discount Property Investor Podcast. Your host David Dodge and Mike Slane. We definitely want to encourage everybody to check out the Discount Property Investor Podcast website that we just put up. We have all of the shows on the website. There is show notes on there as well. So we have lots of good links in there. And of course, as always, check out the freewholesalecourse.com. We actually just added some more content to that recently, and we plan to continue to add content to that as well. So we're going to keep growing and adding value and putting out more and more stuff on the freewholesalecourse.com.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, and you mentioned the website. I wanted to talk a little bit about that too.
Yeah.
So all the show notes are in there as well. And if you're listening to us in audio, we also have all of our podcasts recorded in video as well. Mm-hmm. So if you wanted to see us, you can look at our smiling faces online on YouTube, or again, like David had mentioned, the links are on the website as well. So you can check out discountpropertyinvestorpodcast.com.
That's right.
So today,
what's our discussion today, man?
Yeah, today we're going to be talking about bandit signs.
Bandit signs.
Yes, sir.
I love me some bandit signs.
Yeah. So first off, let's start real basic. What is a bandit sign, Dave?
Oh, a bandit sign is a sign that just says that you have a product or a service that you're looking to sell, and you leave it somewhere. Hence the word bandit.
Pretty much,
right?
Yeah. So and that's kind of the issue, and why they're called bandit signs is because they're not necessarily allowed in every municipality. So you're going to want to check your municipalities, check the rules that are out there. Some of them you can put them up on the weekends as long as you pull them down after, things like that. So you're going to check into that. We're not encouraging anyone to break the law, but again, this is a pretty common way that wholesalers are finding deals. I know here in St. Louis, man, we see bandit signs for all sorts of things. There's Queen Plush, so like a mattress. I guess somebody's selling mattresses.
Yep.
The We Buy houses, obviously. We Buy diabetic test strips. What else do you see out there?
The test strip ones are coming more and more popular, that's for sure. I also see ones for home health care, like elderly health care. Mm-hmm. And then like during tax season, I'll see bandit signs all over for get your taxes done, or a lot of there's a couple companies around town too that they'll help you get benefits.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that.
They'll be like, call now and we'll get you monthly paid, or they'll help subsidize your housing. But anyway, the moral of the story here is that anybody can use them. I also see them a lot during the fall leaf removal.
So
people will put them up, and they'll put them up for lawn care and leaf removal.
Here's a couple samples that we have. So this one's white with red lettering.
It just says "We Buy Houses" with our phone number.
With our phone number right underneath it. Another one that we use is black and yellow. So yellow and white are pretty much the traditional signs, and they're easy to get printed on. You just want to make sure you have a color that contrasts pretty well. Here's another one that we've done, so you can see white and blue.
But these signs, for those that are listening, they just say "We Buy Houses" with a phone number. Mm-hmm. It's very, very basic, very simple. You got to think, when people see these signs, they aren't going to have a ton of time to jot down all the information on the sign. So you don't want to put a website and an email. You just want to give them a phone number and tell them that you buy houses.
Right, and then there's a. So we can go into it quite a bit. So just the what part first, we'll focus on that. So it's just a sign, and traditionally it's white or yellow corrugated plastic. Mm-hmm. So they're plastic, so they hold up in the rain pretty well. If there's a little bit of weather conditions.
Right.
So I didn't want to get ahead of it.
They're actually pretty durable. I've seen signs that have been up for months and months at a time.
I had one for over a year.
No way.
Yeah, there's a spot.
That's awesome.
There's about 15 signs on the pole, though.
Right.
But yeah, they last for a really long time. And the key is make sure that you write in colors that don't fade. So one thing, that's something I learned, is on the white signs, I used red permanent marker, and the sun fades them. In a couple weeks, they're dead. So if you leave them out there, they're definitely
That's a good
not going to
point.
stay as long. So anyways, that's pro tips. So let's talk about where you can find Bandit signs.
Yeah, there's lots of places online that you can buy them. When I first started out, I think I went on like eBay, and I bought signs that didn't have any ink on there, and I was writing them with a marker.
Yep, that's how I started too. Is writing
And that's
everything.
the cheapest route, but it's also very time consuming to do that to 100 or 200 or 1,000 signs, depending on how many of them you buy.
Sure.
So at this point, I've gone to Signs on the Cheap to buy mine. And again, there's lots of different places that you can get them, but Signs on the Cheap is actually my favorite place. Not only are they really cost effective, I mean, they're all going to be pretty reasonable whenever you start to get up into a decent quantity, like over 150 to 200 signs. They're going to pretty much be the same cost, but they just had quick shipping, sometimes free shipping.
Oh, that's huge.
That's huge, yeah.
because
And then
that's what I was just going to say, is that shipping is one of the things that gets real expensive. on
yeah,
the
not
Bandit
always,
signs.
but sometimes they'll run a promotion and they'll offer that.
Sure.
And they're just fast. If you order them, usually you have them within a week.
Yeah, that's great.
And some companies, they may say, we'll have them to you in 2 to 3 weeks. And the quality's always been great. And you can design on their website what you want. So they have I don't even know the exact number, but let's say 30 or 40 templates roughly. And you don't like any of those templates, you can design your own, or you can use one of their templates and modify it, which is super cool. So that's just kind of the place I like to use, and I'd recommend people check it out. Actually, in our show notes, we'll be happy to throw a link up there.
Absolutely. On the website, we'll have the link. In the show notes, we'll have the link. And I'm pretty much everywhere. We've also got a relationship with, who's the other one? Dirt Cheap Signs. And I used to use them a lot. And if you mention the Discount Property Investor podcast when you call, they'll give you 5% off. But again, shop around and figure out which ones are best for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it may depend on your needs, too. If you're not in a big hurry and you can find them, cheaper elsewhere, that's totally understandable. We, at the Discount Property Investor, prefer and currently use Signs on the Cheap.
Yep.
That's kind of our go-to.
Absolutely.
But again, if you're on a budget, I think Mike mentioned this in, it's probably been 15 episodes now, maybe episode 2 or 3, but if you're on a budget, you can make a Bandit sign out of cardboard.
Yep.
You don't necessarily need to, have these nice corrugated signs. What does a sign cost, Mike? I know that there's definitely differences between.
So if you're an Amazon Prime user, you got plenty of cardboard sitting around.
That's right. That's so true.
You can make some
That's
signs.
so true. I know there's a difference between number of colors as well as one-sided or two-sided.
Sure.
We just use one-sided signs.
We
I believe,
always
right?
use one-sided, and the reason for that is, and it's not as big of an issue now for us, but the sun. If you use two-sided signs and you put it out there and the sun is hitting it, you can't read it very well.
That's true. Because the ink on the backside's bleeding through.
Right. So we never do two-sided signs anymore.
And if you're going to put it up on a telephone pole, what's the purpose of paying for extra ink on the back that no one's going to see?
Correct.
There's a piece of wood behind it.
Correct. So then, so the average cost, I think, I figure it average cost after shipping, including stakes and everything. I think we spend about $2 a sign
with the metal stakes.
But I order a third of,
because we're going to put them up on poles.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
if I order 600 signs, I only remember 200 stakes is what I'm saying there, because we're going to put a lot of them up high,
right,
on the telephone poles. So what to do then? Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
We're kind of talking about how we put them out there.
Absolutely.
When I used to be more active doing the signs myself, now we obviously have somebody helping us with that. I always like to go with a partner. So we would go on Friday or Thursday or Friday nights, and we'd usually go late at night.
Bandits.
Well, there's a couple reasons. One is traffic. There's usually less traffic around 1 o'clock in the morning. And 2 is it's not visible. Now, I have other people who do the exact opposite, just do it right in the middle, broad daylight, just because it's easier and they don't want to get hit by a car. So, it's kind of up to you. But we would go Thursday, Friday night. We'd go partners because when you're out there driving around 2 different intersections, it takes a lot of time and effort to park the car, get out of the car.
Yep.
Exactly. Go grab your signs, put it in the ground, then go back to the car, get another sign. So it is very time consuming. Or it can be if you don't kind of have a system down. And with 2 people, you can really fly through it. So reach out to another wholesaler, I would say, and tag team. It makes it a lot more fun, to be totally honest, too. I mean, when you've got somebody else out there doing what you're doing and trying to get some deals together.
If you have a partner or just another investor, you know, you can hire people on Craigslist to go place the signs. There's an app. I can't remember the name of it. Do you remember the name of the app?
Oh, no, I don't remember that one.
There is
a great app to track where people put the signs for you.
Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes, but there is an app to where, and the reason that we recommend the app is if you're doing it yourself, you don't need it necessarily. It is kind of a cool little thing, but if you're paying somebody, the app will allow them to take a photo of each sign that they place, and it geolocates that photo. So it actually generates a map, and it puts pins in the map of all the places that there's a sign. And you can click on each pin, and you can actually see a photo of that sign. So you know you can use it to confirm that you have paid somebody X amount of money and given them X amount of signs to go do it, and they did it, versus just take those and throw them in the dumpster and take your money.
So, let's step it back a notch. I mean, for just the newbie who's starting out doing it themselves, though.
Right.
So, where to put them out then? I would say, get out there in your city. You got to kind of know, you got to know your roads. So, I would pick some busier intersections, and I would put them at all four corners, as well as on telephone poles. So, you're going to get a sign stapler or something as simple as hammer and nails, and just put them up pretty high, and staple them to the telephone poles.
Right.
So how many are you going to put out? I think if you can get out about 50 in a week, you're doing really good. Because like we said, they do take a little bit of time to put out there.
Now, let me back up, Mike. I was thinking about something else here. I wasn't giving you my full attention. I do apologize. So you want to put them at intersections on telephone poles, right?
Well, if there's telephone poles in the intersection or around the intersection, absolutely.
Okay.
Put them up high.
And wouldn't you think that it would be a good idea to get them as high as possible?
Absolutely.
Just so people can't rip them down? Okay. What about like entrance or exit ramps of highways?
Also
Is that
great.
a good place?
Yeah.
Okay.
I see a lot of them there. It's anywhere where the traffic comes to a stop.
Okay, that was really what I was getting at. So like an entrance ramp really isn't going to be very valuable because the cars are speeding up right there. They're not sitting. But an exit ramp, if you can get it down kind of near the intersection,
much more valuable.
To where they get off the highway and then they're sitting at a stoplight for 45 seconds before they would turn or go straight or whatever the case is. That sign's sitting right there.
They've got the time to take a look at it.
Yeah, or just any road that's the traffic isn't moving, more than like 30 or 40 miles an hour.
Yeah, that could be okay too. I would say roads with stoplights more so than
There's going to be better when they're stopped because then when they can actually read the sign and they can write the number down.
Because if they're going 40 miles an hour, they're probably going to have to drive by it about 3 or 4 times before they're going to actually.
Yeah, that brings up another good point though too. Whenever you're selecting the phone number to put on these signs, try to get a number that maybe has either some repeaters in it or some zeros in, or something that's going to be a little bit easier to remember than just one that has a completely random.
That's definitely helpful. I would say the most important thing though is to get a clean phone number, or what I mean by that is something like that's a Google Voice number, because if they are illegal in your area, you're most likely going to have code enforcement or the local police calling you and asking you to take the signs down. So you definitely want something that's not necessarily traceable back to you, just in case you do put out too many and start getting some phone calls like that.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's, I think we've...
Well, and you can track it too.
That's important, yeah.
Versus just having one number with all your different types of marketing going to, it's not a bad idea at all to have different numbers for different types of marketing. They can all forward to the same number, so you don't have to have 30 different numbers that you're answering. You can just have one, but that way you can go into your systems down the road and you can say, okay, hey, I got this many Bandit sign calls last week, and this many calls from letters, and this many calls from postcards, and so on and so forth. So Google Voice is definitely great because, again, we don't want you to break the law. We're definitely not encouraging you to do that. But if you, for example, go out and place some signs unknowing that those signs may be against the code in that area, and they start blowing you up and offering to telling you that they're going to fine you, we recommend going back and taking the signs down.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
If you put up 200 signs, it's going to pretty much be impossible to go find every one of those. So again, we recommend you would take them down in the event that you did something that you weren't supposed to. But at the same time, if you worst case scenario, if it got to that point, you could just change the number, or delete that number. So Bandit signs are great though, folks. We definitely recommend them, especially if you're getting started. Great way to generate leads. Some of our best deals have been from Bandit signs. I just closed a deal.
That's what I was just looking for.
A week and a half ago.
Yeah, I was looking through our system here to find a good story on Bandit signs. But yeah, if you can remember one off the top of your head,
I got one we
for
just
it.
closed a week and a half ago.
Awesome,
I don't want to name the address or the
No,
people
definitely.
or anything along those
keep it.
lines, but it was in South County here in St. Louis, and the individual called off of a Bandit sign, and went out and took pictures of the home, and I made her an offer, and we negotiated back and forth for probably about a month. So it definitely wasn't a super quick transaction, but I would call her every 4 or 5 days, and eventually we kind of met somewhere in the middle, closer to my number than hers. But it was a win-win though, because
So go into the numbers with us. How much? What was she? Do you remember what she was originally asking, and where you ended up on it?
Let me see here. I think she was originally asking about $155,000 for the property.
Okay. And what did you think it was worth, or what?
Well,
what did you
the
want to pay
property
for it?
was worth probably around $190 to $200.
Okay.
But it needed $20,000
Okay, gotcha.
worth of work.
Gotcha.
And she was asking, what did I say?
150, 155,
150 to 155 in that range. My offer was 130.
Okay.
So it wasn't like super low, but it was definitely 20,000 less than what she was asking.
Mm-hmm.
And we met at about, I think it was 137 is where we met.
Mm-hmm.
And then we sold the deal like 3 days later for 145.
Awesome.
So we made about 8 after closing costs. It'll be about 7.
Awesome.
But it was a Bandit sign lead,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like people always say like, oh, I hate Bandit signs, like they don't work. Well, this is proof. We use them.
we use them in our business.
business.
They do work. It is a little bit of work for sure,
Mm-hmm.
especially getting out early mornings like I used to do and putting them out. But they definitely work. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a $7,000 success. And we were just looking at the number of signs that we put out in the past 6 months, and I think total cost we were around. Our number of signs was like 1,000, so its total cost around $2,000.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, again, that one deal more than pays for the past.
Oh yeah, that one
marketing.
deal will pay for Bandit signs for the next few months.
For a few years.
Few years,
Yeah.
probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But really, if you look at it that way.
Yeah,
And then
I mean,
at
it's-
this point, we don't have to be out there ourselves doing it. We can
Mhm.
hire people to do it, and so on and so forth. So
Absolutely.
definitely encourage Bandit signs, folks. They are definitely a great way to get your message out. You buy houses, we buy houses. Put your number out there. Don't overcomplicate it. The stakes you can buy, like Mike said, he usually buys about a third
Mm-hmm.
of the stakes as he does signs, and the reason for that is we only put a third of the signs in the ground. So the stakes are just little pieces of metal that go in the bottom of the sign, and then they go in the dirt. So whenever you put it in the ground, we prefer to put our signs up on telephone poles because they tend to last a little bit longer. And most of the telephone poles that we're locating and using are at intersections. And again, that's where people are sitting in their car. It's where they have the ability to read your message and actually write down the number or pick up their phone
Yeah.
and call it in real time.
Yeah.
Right
So I mean,
then and there.
obviously we do use both, and if you're gonna go with the stakes, there's the two types. There's the 1H stake, and that's really small. What's gonna happen is you're gonna put half of it in the ground and half of it in the sign. So your sign is almost sitting in the ground. So if there's any snow or grass growing, they may not even be able to read the bottom of your sign. So
Yeah, or if
always-
it's just kind of in a ravine, if
Yeah,
the
or
road
low down.
isn't flat.
So I never buy those signs anymore. I always buy the taller ones. It's a little bit more expensive, but absolutely. Because
You get more visibility.
You've got to get it off the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, what's
So
the
that's important.
purpose of putting a sign out if no one's going to see it?
Exactly. So
so-
important point there.
Real quick, just to touch on it, how would you recommend people putting the signs on the telephone poles? Because a lot of people that are new to Bandit signs or real estate investing and generating leads via Bandit signs, they may not know. So like when I first started out doing Bandit signs on telephone poles, I literally went and bought a hammer and nails.
Mhm.
And then I progressed to a little short, like 3-step ladder to get them up a little higher. And now we have
We've got an awesome tool.
now we have a tool that we
Yeah.
bought online. I think it's called the Bandit Sign Hammer. But people online are, I'm seeing all over now that are making them at home. They go up to the hardware store.
Well, 3 years ago, there was a video. It's probably one of my most popular videos back on Slane Properties, and I think it's maybe $40 worth of materials, and that's including a $30 DeWalt stapler, like the hammer stapler.
Hammer stapler.
You can actually put it together with some 3-inch PVC pipe and the hammer stapler and a door jamb, the transition piece in a door jamb. And you put it together, and it allows you to throw the sign in that thing, and then get it up really high and tack it up to the pole, to a light pole about 10 feet in the air.
Let's add that to the show notes, Mike.
Sure.
That'd be a great video.
Yeah, we'll put
to
the
add
link.
in there.
We'll add the link to that.
Awesome.
We can add. Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's extremely important. Again, get them up high, but not too high. You again got people in the car. If it's up 20 feet high, they're not going to see it because when they pull up next to it, it's going to be over their.
Yeah, that's a really good
windshield.
point. Don't go too high because
Yeah.
then they won't see it. But you definitely want to try to get it above where somebody can reach, because the aldermans and
people are exactly. If it's easy to take down, they're going to go take it down. If
and
it's
other investors,
other wholesalers,
they may want
same
to
thing.
get your sign off the pole and put theirs up. So,
Definitely not encouraging that. There's plenty of deals out there for everyone.
right,
So,
absolutely.
so guys, I think the action item for this week, since we're talking about Bandit signs, we're going to encourage you guys to at least purchase them if you haven't already. If you have, put out 50 Bandit signs and see what happens. Just put them out there.
You're gonna get calls, folks. You're gonna get calls. And another thing is, just because let's say you put out 50 signs and you get, I don't know, 5 or 10 phone calls off those signs, hopefully more, and you don't get a deal off of it. Don't be discouraged. You at this point have a name, a phone number, and an address from that call of somebody that was at least motivated enough to call and get more information. So follow up with those people. On average, our deals, they don't happen immediately.
Yeah, the money is definitely in the follow-up.
The money is in the follow-up. You got to call these people,
So that was
5, 7, 10. I mean, we've had people that we've called just 25 times.
Rewind 5 minutes or 6 minutes in this podcast and listen to Dave's success story. He
Right.
just said he called her a bunch of times.
It took me a month.
Months, following up with her every couple days.
I think I called her every 3 or 4 days, and it took me over a month. So, I mean, that's 10 calls.
Yeah.
Every 3 days. So, but I mean, look what it benefited. We made $7,000 on that deal from a Bandit sign.
It's awesome.
And the Bandit sign didn't do anything but just spark a lady's interest, knowing that I'd buy her house. What actually got the deal done was the follow-up.
Yep.
So, very cool.
So,
well, guys, check us out online, the discountpropertyinvestorpodcast.com. And, of course, we're always encouraging people, free wholesale course. It's free. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Tons of content. We're obviously always wanting to provide value, so we'll be adding new stuff to that course. If you want to contact myself or Mike, David at discountpropertyinvestor.com. Excuse me, or Mike at discountpropertyinvestor.com. And I think that wraps up this show on Bandit signs. Mike, you want to close us out with a quote?
Sure. Keep your eyes on the stars and your feet on the ground. But get your
Bandit signs out there.
That's right. But get your Bandit signs out there. All right. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks for listening to the Discount Property Investor Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to help us reach a wider audience. We would also appreciate it if you left us a review on iTunes or Stitcher. Thanks in advance for your support. And remember, you make your money when you buy and get paid when you sell. Now let's go build some wealth.